Have you ever felt like you're more than just your name or your job? What if you could build a character sheet for your own life? One that could help you truly understand yourself, but more importantly, help others understand you. Welcome to AveyaZ, where fantasy and storytelling bridge the gap between connection and an undeniable will. In my first video, I explored the creation of the protagonist of this channel lore story. But today, we're doing something a little different. This one is about you. I'm excited to introduce this three-part series that I'm calling the Friend Portfolio. So you might be asking, what is the Friend Portfolio? In the professional world, we have a career portfolio that showcases our skill set. But has anybody ever thought about a portfolio for friendship? This activity I've created is a completely unique way of its own. That is, it is a creative and engaging way to go beyond those surface level introductions and explore the core of who you really are. This just so happens to be inspired by the rich world of fantasy and gaming. The Friend Portfolio has two parts. The first one is going to be a Word document, and this is going to be called the My Reality Character Blueprint. This is going to be a foundational look at your personal stats and attributes as a character. The second document is going to be a showcase of your interests and hobbies, as well as then a little bit of extra in between there as well. This is going to be called the Player's Log. Again, this is a more gamified variation. To make the objective of this feel less monotonous of a layering of materials, there are going to be many gamified variations of these concepts. And overall, it's going to tie to the channel's theme. The end goal of utilizing this Friend Portfolio with this two-document strategy is going to showcase a much easier circumstance to be able to dive deeper into ourselves, to not only learn more about ourselves, but also once we have a greater understanding of ourselves, then we can utilize that information to actually have a greater sense of connecting with other people. That could be so many things with so many different aspects within your life. That could be your close friends, meeting new people, or enhancing the relationships with your family. So many opportunities here. You could even go as far as saying some of this stuff can tie into friendships within your coworkers as well. It applies everywhere. That's what makes it so exciting to dive into this. In this part one of this three-part series of the Friend Portfolio, let's first dive into the breakdown for the My Reality Character Blueprint, so you can start creating your own. So here we are. Now we're going to get started with this document here. In the beginning, I provided a short description and explanation. Go ahead and read it for yourself. It's awesome. I put a lot of time and effort writing this out for everybody, because it's going to the entire purpose is just to highlight everything about you as a person. Now, though I have everything written in this dark color, I forget what this is called. I don't want to call it a dark colored format. Oh my gosh, I literally can't think of what it's called. Dark mode? Yeah, dark mode. I think that's it. Even though I have this written in dark mode, you can tell that I have some different colors that are being utilized here. Again, this is just to make things a little bit more precise on where you really need to focus on. But what we're going to notice is everything that's in this color purple here. Gosh, God forbid, I really hope it's still the color was purple when it's not in dark mode. But that's where you're going to actually, oh my gosh, what did I just, okay, undo that. And that's where your edits are going to come into play, because that's the part of your interaction. So let's go ahead and let's get started into section one here of this My Reality Character Blueprint. So section one, we have the character profile. So now we're going to discuss, and with the layout of everything and how this goes, I have this nice short and sweet example that's layered in the beginning. It's also it helps as a description and explanation for each and every piece that's going to come into play with this. Because again, this is for you to go ahead, experiment, and be creative with it. I've got a lot of gamified examples in here just for the sake of, I think it sounds really cool in some of these aspects. So go ahead, feel free, tackle this thing however you want to. You're going to provide what your name is. My name is, you don't have to put your real name. If you are a person who does a lot of online gaming, you're going to have a screen name associated. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm the type of guy where the last time I went to a bowling alley, I actually used my screen name in the place. And some people thought it was super cool, and other people thought, what is wrong with this guy? But hey, you know what? That doesn't matter. It's all in the fun of it, right? So again, be creative. Put in whatever you want. This is all for you. Every single little thing that you put in here is going to highlight you as a person. I actually provided the example of the second protagonist of the channel lore, and her name is AveyaZ, and her title as a character in the story, she is the soulful companion. So if I used her as an example, my name is AveyaZ. I am referred to as the soulful companion. Next part of this character profile, you have the image. Again, no hesitation here, okay? Whatever the first thing that comes into mind, put it in there. This is for you. I've already started this statement here. Honestly, you don't even need this. You can completely gut it out. But it's, again, I'm trying to make this clear, concise, and the easiest thing for you to be able to manipulate for yourselves. Put an image in here. So if it were me, in my example, I might put in the logo for my YouTube channel, because I spent a lot of time trying to make that. And again, in my eyes, it's super cool and it really highlights me as a person. I would probably put something like that in there. But you can have more than one. Put more than one. Put multiple. Maybe you have this type of, oh gosh, I mean, hopefully, you never know. There are some people out there who are the multiple personalities type of people. Maybe you need 3 because you are 3 people. Now let's get on to this next part, that is the character class. Something that's interesting, it is a little bit different to the title, but it's gonna feel similar by the end of the day, right? Really, the part that I want to showcase is there are going to be, again, we're going through the description that I'm providing here. So maybe you're somebody with, imagine the days of when you're in high school and you had to do a group project. You are associated to have this title or character class that's befitted right into you, regardless of whether you chose it or not. Here's another example: the creative, a visionary who builds worlds and finds stories in everyday life. And if you wanted to be a little bit more different, instead of being the creative, you could be the creator, right? That sounds cool. Also, the creator sounds a little bit more gamified in my eyes, therefore much more appeal to that, in my honest opinion. Here you go. In purple, cut this part out right there. You don't need that. I am the what? What are you? I am the creator. The creator is, provide an explanation. This is kind of cool. This is the part I actually really enjoy, because you're not only just providing a class to associate for yourself, but also provide a description of why that is the case. Why are you calling yourself this? Some of the closest people that you know, they're going to be able to do that for you. But if this is somebody you're meeting within 24 hours of knowing this person, and for somehow you get to a point where this part comes into your life, showcase it. That's why we need a description. If somebody doesn't really know you, we need to have some kind of description to fall upon that, because I don't know why you are the creator. You need to tell me. Core attributes. This one, I definitely went really intense on RPG gaming here. These are going to be your fundamental stats to define you who you are. You're going to scale yourself from a rating of 1 to 10. You get to choose this. Nobody can tell you that you're wrong. Nobody can tell you that you're right, except for yourself. This is an entirely based system for yourself. This is me taking my eyes and saying, prowess, your overall physical skill, strength, and coordination. What do I think that I would rate myself from scale 1 to 10? What do I think I would be? Same thing with fortitude, charisma, ability to inspire others, constitution, your inner strength, that grittiness that is inside of you, intelligence, empathy, wisdom, all of these things. I'm trying to make this so easy for you, because within these layouts, I'm presenting a quote or a use case scenario of how this would apply to you as a person. If that's something that resonates with you, maybe it's a 7, maybe it's an 8, or maybe you looked at this and said, absolutely, that is me as a person, and anybody that I know would agree with that. 10 out of 10. You are full of wisdom. I would certainly hope so that I am, but this is all for you. We look a little bit further. We have resolve, resonance. What's this anticipation of how you feel when you connect with other things? And we get into the last couple here, and that is your insight and your discipline. Some of these are not exactly related to RPG games, but the first couple, as you saw, think what you would typically find in an RPG game: constitution, fortitude, likely something similar to that. Instead of saying strength, I say prowess. It's got more in-depth characteristics to it rather than just saying physical strength. Now the part that I'm really excited to go over here, which is right after those first bits. This is actually going to be still core attributes, but this one is going to be specific to the lore of the story that I've began creating in this. Each major part of the world of Velaris is separated by realms. Therefore, we're going to go ahead and showcase, we have the Chaos Realm Zarvale. What would represent those individuals? We would call it dominion, your sense of dominion. Measurement of personal drive, power, influence, and control over your environment. I add a little bit more flavor when it comes to these parts, because I haven't yet gone in depth into each of these nations or realms in particular for the AveyaZ lore of the story. Therefore, I'm providing this additional insight when it comes to being the announcement of these parts of the world. Since the character that I created, who is the first protagonist of the story, AveyaZ Zendelka, and he's also a representation of me as a character, he is the core part of the Chaos Realm. His sense of dominion is for sure a 10 out of 10. Sprinkling that in there, why not, right? Now we dive a little bit deeper and we're getting into the second part. Man, I feel like this thing is just so big, but I'm not gonna fix that for right now. Now we get into the second nation in particular, and we have the realm of Athen and its capital nation, Velaris. This one is going to symbolize harmony. This measures your core desire for order, stability, and peaceful collaboration. Again, feel free to read the rest of it. I spent a lot of time making this sheet because I wanted this to feel anything that I provide to what is going to be on this channel for AveyaZ. I am putting my heart and soul into every little piece of this. This is a masterpiece, and this is not only supporting myself within going through the creation of this, but also it's going to greatly support you and enhance your lives as well when you go through this activity. Harmony, what is your sense of harmony? It's pretty straightforward. It's the fact of finding stability in your life. Do you feel that you have an easy sense of finding stability in your life? If you do, then you're gonna have a relatively high rating. I swear it sounded like somebody just whistled at me. That was the weirdest thing. After Velaris representing harmony, we now have Verelian, the order realm. This is the dichotomy between chaos and order within the story. This is going to be shaped upon conviction, of an individual's conviction, the unwavering moral compass and drive for justice. Are you a justice seeker? Are you a truth seeker? If you are a oh my goodness, that is a tongue twister. If you are a true truth seeker in this world, then you're going to have a high value for conviction. On to the next one. Nemira, the Mage Tech Nation. This is going to be a symbol of ingenuity. In the world of Velaris, the Mage Tech Nation, its entire purpose is to, well, actually, let me rephrase it as how it manifests. This statement here alone truly drives this home. To further the living with intellect and technology, I must unlock the potential of the future. This is the type of people who spend their time honing in on everything within themselves to become more intelligent and to further the continuation of their education so that they can enhance the technologies within their world. This sounds like somebody like you? You're going to have a high rating within ingenuity. Up next, we have Dragorn, the Guild and Gladiator Nation. So this sounds like it's going to be a very combat-based area, right? Absolutely it is. So this one's going to be a sense of valor. Do you have that undying spirit that tells you, whatever happens, I will fight? You have the courage, you have the willpower, you have that unwavering will to stand up for what you believe in. You thrive on challenges. If that sounds like you, you're going to have a high sense of valor. And for the greatest quote to come in for the nation of Dragorn, I prove my strength through force. I cannot stand still when the dangers of the realm of Nithra are so close to home. Last two remaining here, we're going to have Solvara, the Grand Market and Neutral Trade Nation. This is going to be your sense of prudence. A high sense of prudence, as an example, would be somebody who's a masterful negotiator. Somebody who is always trying to create the best scenario from the worst scenarios, but maintaining neutrality throughout everything. That sounds like you? Then you may have a high value of prudence. I love these quotes. I love these quotes. How do you manifest if you are very high in prudence? All paths lead to prosperity, where all paths converge and no sword strikes first. Onward to the last and final nation particular core attribute, we have Farundel, the nation of demiborn tribes. Because what is a fantasy story without demiborn tribes? I don't know, but it's going to exist here, that's for sure. So what are we going to have? A sense of verdure. To have a high sense of verdure is going to have a connection to spirit and the vitality of life. This could also be seen as the type of person who likes to follow their cultural traditions or traditional standards. Therefore, somebody who wants to continue to continue the old ways because the old ways made sense and they still work. So somebody who probably doesn't want to be too innovative. If that sounds like you may have a high value of verdure. How do we manifest as somebody who is a high value of verdure? Born by blood, bound by spirit. We walk as one, beasts in balance. Now, though in a reality scheme, beasts in balance, we're all human beings. And if we all consider ourselves as a species, then we are all beasts and we're all trying to find balance. This marks the end of the core attributes. And now we're going on to our in-game quests. if you recall, we need to gamify ourselves. The more we tend to gamify ourselves, the more we'll actually continue to play the game in the best way that we want to. Life is a game. It's an infinite game, as stated by a fabulous author called Simon Sinek. And in that infinite game, life is continuing on going, and therefore, if we were to gamify our life as a scenario, why would we ever choose to be someone who's not going to excel? We want to continue to keep pushing forward, because if you open a game, you open your console, you open your PC, whatever it is that you're playing, if you open that game with the intent to just go ahead and lose at whatever you're playing, why are you playing in the first place? That sounds a bit, now don't get me wrong, if you're a masochist, maybe you're into that, but we're trying to be open and free of judgment here. So again, gamify this scenario. Your life is a game right now. How are you going to win? Let's go on to this. Your in-game quests. We're going to go ahead and list here your major achievements and your current goals. This is for your personal basis. This is a personal friend portfolio. This is all for you. This is separate from your career-driven ideals. Now, you could actually attach some of your career ideals here. Absolutely. Feel free. Maybe if something about you is extremely tied to what you do for your work, put it in there. If that's the type of person that you are, we're not going to resent you for that. There's no reason to resent yourself for saying that my work is tied to who I am. If you have found work in your life that ties to the type of person that you are, that's a great thing, because there's a lot of people out there who do not do that. Whatever major life achievements that you feel is acceptable for you, put it in there, especially if you want somebody else to know it. And then state your current goals. You could state goals that are ending in a week, ending in a month, ending within a couple months, quarterly basis, half a year, every 6 months, or even 1 year to 5 years from now. It's up to you, but you can be specific here. And that's what I really want you to do. Section 2, here we go, the inner world. This is going to be a great asset for anybody who's really trying to find this sense of self-discovery. First and foremost, what is your personality? Why do you do what you do? We need to be able to understand that. So now, within this particular part and throughout the rest of this document, I've provided links, all of these links that are free and easily accessible to utilize. You go and you take these assessments and you will get the results that are driven based off of your responses to fill in each of these parts if you're having difficulty. Right? In this particular instance, I love the 16 personalities assessment when it comes to finding your personality. It's going to generate a 4-digit code that's going to resemble what type of person that you fall under. Why do we need this? Because this states why you do what you do. Who are you? How do you think? That's going to be it. My personality type is fill in the blank, put it in, add some description, copy and paste the results from what you get if you need to, because you might actually learn so much about your character. You're going to learn so much about what type of person that you are from this, because the more that you dive into it, the more you read on, you may actually realize, wow, so many of these things are actually tying to me, and I would have never thought about that. But the more I think about it and the more I dive into it, the more I'm starting to realize it's scary how closely aligns to me as a person. That's how I felt when I first did it, and now I encourage everybody to do it. Part two of your inner world. What is your learning style? How do you best learn in every given scenario? The more that we understand that, the better you can spend more time applying how you best learn to every single scenario in your entire life. It sounds crazy, but there are plenty of people out there who actually don't know how they best learn. So again, take that free assessment, get in there, get your results. It's going to break it down within 3 different categories. And once you understand that, now you're going to utilize that information to help you greater understand and how to piece together a more sense of clarity for every single thing that you do. I'm telling you, it's going to work. Start doing it today. You won't regret it. The third part of this, your values and morals. Now, this one was tricky. It was really hard to find a really good assessment for this, but I did find something. Again, it's free of use. Just get in there, take the assessment, develop what your closest values and morals are. A lot of us can actually sit here and tell ourselves we already know to an extent of what it is, but having something that truly determines that and has that basis to be able to say, okay, yeah, I thought so, but now I really agree to it. Play that in there. I gave an example of listing out 5 here. You don't have to list 5, but the more that you put in there, the better everything will turn out for you. What part am I on? I think I'm on part 4 of this. Yeah, part 4. Okay, part 4, we're going to talk about love languages. And you might be thinking to yourself, why do I need to know this? Because it's all a part of you. It's a part of your internal character. We're going inside of you right now. We're trying to determine your personality type, your learning style, what your values and morals are, and last but not least, your love language. Not last but not least, there's still one last part that's going to be more gamified variant of this. But now we're going to identify what your love language is, because your primary love language is how you show appreciation and how you accept appreciation to others. When you best understand between the 5 different segments that they exist, acts of service, words of affirmation, receiving gifts, quality time, physical touch, the better you are able to understand what best responds to you is going to shape how you actually react to other people. I know that seems a little bit weird, but the more you think about it, when you understand what your love language is, that's where you're actually really going to be keen on understanding that's what you want to see. And oftentimes when you are giving feedback to how you show affection to other people, it's typically based on your self-love languages, or what resonates you the best. And frankly, a lot of other people follow the same way. That could differ from somebody else. You could be trying to give gifts to somebody who actually doesn't have a love language in representing themselves that they enjoy receiving gifts. That may not be something that resonates with them. So better to understand that now, so that when we go to dive deeper into the people around you, when I understand what my love language is, I know what I need to receive from the appreciation of others. So now when I'm in that circumstance where I can actually tell another person, hey, I respond best to A, B, and C. Now I start doing that. Then they'll start doing that. And when they start doing it, they're going to tend to understand that they get a far better response. They get the response that they want to see from you. It's a big deal, I'm telling you. The minute you start implementing this, everything will change. The final category of this document, we are now on to the active and passive abilities. Yes, absolutely, I gamified this thing to an extreme right here because I'm a little crazy. What can I say? Okay, maybe not too crazy, but you get the point here. So passive abilities, these are going to be your natural talents. When you wake up every single day, you don't have to sit there and think about these things. These are inherently attached to you as a person. Are you a natural born leader? Are you somebody who is gifted with, if I was playing a game and I'm playing an RPG and I get a new passive skill, what am I going to get? I'm going to get something like, I'm a fast learner. Oh, wait a second. If my passive was, I learn everything 20% faster than normal, well, guess what? I just put that in a realistic standpoint. If you were to go and tell somebody I learned 20% faster compared to the average person, they're going to think, wow, I never thought about that. Never thought of it that way. Why? Why are we not thinking that way? Because now we're not only putting a better variation of who we are as a person, but it's crazy how much of a difference that changing a little bit of verbiage makes you have a far better personal image. So if you're a fast learner, gosh, you need to tell me that. I need to know that. I need to know you're a fast learner. The final bit here, when it all comes down to it, is your active abilities. What are going to be your active abilities? This is going to be more of the things that you've learned throughout your life. So these are not natural-esque capabilities that are just engraved into you, okay? Now, oftentimes this could also get confused with the fact of, if I were in a professional standpoint, if I was doing something in a career or in a specific field and I was an expert in something for 20 years, that could feel like a passive ability sooner or later, because it is just so far deeply engraved into me because I've spent so many hours practicing it. There could easily be a fine line between those two things. We're going to try and keep that different here. That's why I give the example of a gamified variation of this, which is the Gladiator Pulse. I don't back down from a fight I must have. Why Gladiator Pulse? Because I thought of it and it sounds sick. Okay. If you need any assistance when it comes to having active abilities, I did find a good association with another free assessment tool that you can take, and you're going to get 5 distinct active abilities that will be thrown out to you from this activity. And again, some of these can get pretty close to feeling like an internal passive ability of yours, but we're really trying to identify what is something that you've truly spent a lot of time to be able to do. For me, it would be an analytical processing of any kind. I am heavily data driven when it comes to a more career centered aspect of things. And I'm also partaking that into how I represent this YouTube channel. And this marks the end of this document here, the My Reality Character Blueprint. This was it didn't take very long for me to create this because I already go through all of this material myself long in advance for several years. I just wanted to be able to create something that was concise and able to be visually clear and accessible for somebody else to be able to use to continue to live similar to how I do every day. This My Reality Character Blueprint is the first step in creating your friend portfolio. I'm putting a link down in the description below of this video so that you can go ahead and download this free tool that you'll go ahead to be able to use for yourselves. In the next video, we'll go over the second part of this friend portfolio. The second part is going to be an Excel file, and I'm calling this one the player's log. The player's log is going to hold a deep data-driven part that will showcase your hobbies and interests. But then in the third part of this series, I'm actually going to go ahead and showcase my personal friend portfolio to all of you. I will walk through everything that I've showcased here, and I've already said some of the things that really resonate with me, but I will go through that in a thorough depth of what showcased for my personal friend portfolio, as well as the part that we're going to go ahead and see in the next video for the player's log. I'm creating this 3-part series to not just inspire others to spend more time in self-discovery, but also to go beyond the depths of why you do what you do. Imagine for a moment that there is somebody who is working in a career field, they're an expert in something, and they've been doing it for 28 years, and they still cannot clearly enunciate exactly what they do. That sounds crazy, right? Well, I'm somebody who's lived in this human body for 28 years. I'm 28 years old, and I can clearly tell anybody out there in the world who I am, why I do what I do, and why I act on the actions that I do. So again, imagine being in the body of somebody who's 35 years old, 55 years old, and unable to clearly tell another person what type of person they are in depth. I know plenty of people who can't do that. And that's what I'm trying to fix here. That's what makes this activity so important, because the better we know about ourselves, the better that we can actually spend more time understanding everybody and everything around us. I've done all the hard work for you. Now let me paint another picture for you. As each and every person out there in this world takes more time to find their sense of self-discovery, that means there is one more person out there, and sooner or later to be within your lives, who's better able to connect with other people. And it ends up being this grand cycle where it will sooner or later come back to me as this person who's created this document, this friend portfolio. And sooner or later, I will begin to see more people who have gone through this activity, and they are better able to find that sense of connections with other people. I created this activity because I want to give a sense of what it feels to live in my head as somebody who considers themselves, I consider that I am my own best friend, because I know myself better than anybody else in this world. I practice what I preach here. I wanted to make this with all the crazy color schemes and all of the labeling that I provided in the sheet to make this clear and concise for anybody to be able to understand and to be able to find their flame in self-discovery. You don't have to be perfect. You weren't built for it, but we were made to be different. Now, don't limit yourself to what others can only perceive in their own lives based off of their experiences and the knowledge that they have. So let's hear it. It's time to change the hearts of many, one person at a time. Stay tuned for part 2. My name is AveyaZ, and I will see you in the player's log.